Hey, it's John, aka Jab. It is Wednesday, August 21st, 2024. And I kind of wanted to do what I hope is a quick, very, not even scripted at all in the least. But I wanted to append, I suppose, some ideas for helping get Mozilla back on track. And I was thinking outside of Mozilla as well. And I think the problem for a lot of developers is that a lot of important work is done by developers that people just have never heard of. But you might use a feature dozens, hundreds, or even thousands of times that is only present in that given browser because someone, put in weeks or months worth of work into a project, sometimes multiple people. And removing the funding from Mozilla Corporation, the criminals pretending to be for the actual browser and the software is part of it. But I think it's even more important to actually fund people who do the work. And I've had some ideas of stuff I've wanted to do in the past, and I might act on that. But this is not something I don't really have the time to do. I don't know how to organize this stuff, but I think there are other people out there who would. And I think it would be a really good idea, a great idea actually, is if we had a community that was about supporting developers. And the general notion is that each developer could have like a dedicated blog. I like that idea. And that people could easily donate to developers or like, hey, I'll donate to you if you end up working on a feature for this browser or for this piece of software or whatever. And kind of like tags and all that other stuff. And I think that would go a long way towards a few things. Most importantly, supporting developers. And a lot of developers don't get paid. They're doing a lot of stuff, volunteer work. There's a lot of open source stuff. Now, I don't do open source software myself. I think the closest thing I do is making the JavaScript functions that I build publicly accessible. But I mean, anyone can do that. I just, you know, um, so I'm in the proprietary field myself. That's fine. I'm for profit. But I still think, yeah, I'm sure there's some developers that make good money, but that's not really the point there. And I would definitely say that a website like that would be highly desirable to make sure that we know what the projects are and that people can measure um, the progress being made. And I think I've been itching to make a dedicated video about this. But I think one of the most important things is, especially with programs that you run, not interpreted software. Like web stuff is interpreted, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. You don't have to compile code into a binary. So when you go on Windows and you load up an exe, an executable, or Mac, damage your computer with Mac software file, whatever I know it stands for something else. I don't care. Um, that that's code that has to be somehow compiled. No, I'm presuming that the damaged files on Mac are compiled. I don't know. Uh, and Linux, I mean, there's the Debian DB files or whatever. I don't. Linux is notorious for not providing binaries, and I think it's very super critical. Let me put it this way: if you make software and don't release a binary, an executable, it's like if you say, John, can you fix the website? Okay, and I fix the problem. And then you say, hey, I thought you said you fixed the problem. Yeah, I just didn't bother to upload to the server. But then I didn't actually fix the problem, did I? Because uploading the change to the server, so the server has the fixes, that's pretty critical. So, and no, I'm as someone who builds an entire web platform from scratch using no third-party code. Yeah, that's part of my responsibility. So, um, definitely, I don't support people pretending to be developers, like, oh, they'll build the software themselves. No. Provide binaries. Don't be a lazy ass. Anyway, but besides that, I'm sure there's people who could throw together something like in a week using, whatever off the shelf stuff. But definitely make it so that way. I would do this if I had the connections, but I do not have the connections. I don't really. I do. I have spoken with some developers um, across the web. I typically get banned from browser vendors or some websites for having a working brain. So that's another thing. And I think part of the problem that needs to be resolved is we need to attack the filthy Marxist parasite slaver parasites that weasel their way into moderators' uh, privileges and then use it to just basically break apart communities. A community is only good as the people who are running it. And Stack, anyone who's also a developer who's ever used Stack Overflow will know exactly what I mean, unless they are part of the problem. And there's a real issue with the slaver trash genes in human genetics, unfortunately, where egotism and a lot of other um, psychological issues that I believe stem from some trash in our genes that everyone has, by the way. So, yeah, we need to address these kind of issues as development community, but that's not the purpose of the video. So, but there are projects, software projects that very few people know of that are absolutely uh, key to keeping like half of society up and running that there's very little support for. And I think the ability to, as someone who wants to support developers and and software, I think adding, making it so that way, like, let's say I wasn't a developer and I'm just happy to use some software. I should be able to go and add a specific piece of software or a vendor or most importantly, an individual developer. And, but I'm thinking mostly browser vendors. And I think that basically these accounts should not be, they should be locked if there's no binaries available for like software programs. Now, if we're talking about like web stuff or interpreted, that's different. That's but who's going to sit there and wait 5 hours and run 27 commands to compile some software and find out that, wow, this is terrible. Why would I want to use this? I just wasted 5-6 hours of my life. So I think that's very important. Anyway, that's just kind of a general idea I have. I think getting the productive developers at Mozilla, because there's a lot of good things about Mozilla-based software. There's obviously a lot of trash that's out there too, and that's the point is to support people who are actually making positive contributions to society, because unfortunately most people don't really get to make meaningful, impactful contributions to society as a whole or at like a very great level. You can do a lot of great contributions on an individual level. I think most people do. Supporting family and friends and whatnot, being there for people. But when we're talking about software, the software doesn't matter without the hardware, but the hardware doesn't matter without the software. And I really think that we need to be able to show support for other developers. I mean, I'm a developer myself, and I'm struggling with what I have to deal with. I have some ideas how to circumvent those issues, but yeah. So yeah, I would probably sign up to be on the website myself. I think it's a great idea. And of course, the one time the Logitech camera is working, it gets all blurry. Thanks. So anyway, just kind of an idea, mostly oriented around the idea of we need to fix Mozilla, we need to save Firefox, we need to restore Firefox on top of that. But it shouldn't just be the productive developers at Mozilla. We should be supporting everyone who's working on software and allow people to show the support to who they want. And say, hey, I will donate $150 to this developer if they add this feature, and now suddenly they can afford food that week. Anyway, thanks for watching, and comment below what software do you find very valuable, um, and what would you like to see for features or software. I mean, what would you support financially, even if it's only a few dollars, like one time, or a subscription model, like, hey, I just want to donate $5-10 a month every month to this project or this developer or whatever. um, Even if it's just and there's a lot of things people can do when you don't have any money. You can share links and all that other stuff, so always consider that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good one.